Trump just signed a bill worth many trillions of dollars that will put trillions of dollars into American cryptocurrency, with XRP being the biggest, adding over $600 trillion to the economy. The Digital Euro Association has now publicly agreed to work with Ripple to create a CBDC on the XRP ledger. This is just the beginning. Briggs starts to talk about how they will use XRP and the XRP ledger in their Marania project, which will build a worldwide central currency that they will use to make payments. Real estate is also adding $654 trillion to the XRP system. While all of this is going on, the managing head of Dill Capital, who is a Wallace Royal Grade analyst, says that the price of XRP will be between $10,000 and $35,000. This is a fact, and it will happen right in front of our eyes in just a few weeks. Click here to see how much XRP costs right now, $34. It's a big breakout when we look at the all-time chart, but you can see that there has been a juicy consolidation over the last 7 days. This means that there will be a rise in the next couple of days as well. And this will perfectly align with the massive trillions of dollars being pumped into the XRP ledger. This will cause a major supply shock for XRP and set off a price spike that could reach $10,000 to $35,000 per XRP. To get the real story, you have to listen to this expert say that XRP could be worth $10,000 to $35,000 in about 3 weeks. And this is Jimmy Valley, who is the managing director of V Capital, a big venture capital company. Let's play the movie. In a number of ways, but it could also be fixed by putting more rules on top of everything else. We do know it's coming soon though, right? That's why I say imminent. I would be surprised if, say, a quarter from now we were still in the middle of the SEC lawsuit. I think the way things are going in the world means we'll need a solution like XRP for liquidity sooner rather than later. So the question is now fine, we've solved it magically. Where does the price go anyway? It's pretty clear that it's a number with tens. As a result, I believe it goes up right away to $10 or even $20. The thing that makes me nervous is that there is a deal between governments and central banks that would make XRP the world's bridge currency. It would be a neutral asset that central banks could trade with each other to change fiat currencies. If that happens, it brings us back to what we were talking about before. The amount has to be enough to cover all the costs, and I believe that XRP would agree to a figure. So this would happen right away at a price of $10,000 to $35,000 per coin, and our lives will be I don't know, probably a little different. Now, Trump has signed a bill that will pump trillions of dollars into the DS economy and American cryptos. Furthermore, this made me think of a saying that Ripple's co-founder made and said. He was also the father of XRP and said that. He said that XRP is meant to be worth $10,000 and must be able to grow to support 7.5 billion people. So here we are now, with XRP growing at a very fast rate. Look at this. The XRP ledger makes XRP the most popular coin in the United States. It is now ready to power the $654 trillion global real estate market. Once more, Donald Trump signed that bill into law. But all of this is going to happen because of real estate, the real world assets that will be added, and the value they add to the record. In what way? In the end, it comes down to Rioi, an organization that is building on the XRP ledger and is unlocking $654.39 trillion with real coin, their own coin that is also built on the XRP ledger. In the past few days, Real Token has officially stated that you can now use the XRP ledger to buy real estate in more than 50 places around the world using the Real Token on the XRPL. This means that you could easily go from XRP to Real Token to real world asset or real estate. This is huge because it opens up more than 10,000 properties worth more than $2 billion in residential and business real estate across the XRP ledger. You can read more about their list on their website. Today, though, they revealed something even bigger. They pointed out that over the past few months, they've also launched the Really Payments solution and the Really Asset Marketplace. Both are based on the XRP ledger, which is driven by the Real Token. And in just a few days, Phase 1 will end and Phase 2 will begin for the Really ecosystem. Phase 2 will focus on bringing the technologies together and making them available all over the world, with the Real Token at the center of the next stage of growth. You need to understand again when we point out the Real ticket, the XRP ledger is where the real coin is built. Real estate payments are going to speed up in the future, and Real is leading the way. You can stay tuned now that the real code is out there. There's going to be something big. You need to know that this is a huge deal for the XRP system. The real symbol will show the way. Lee, there will be trillions added to the XRP ledger by real coin. And here is the real organization that backs it up. Again, this is a real organization that is worth millions or even billions of dollars. You can use them to buy real land, whether they are in XRP or a real token. Let's wait for this to load again. There are a lot of houses for you to choose from. As you can see on the right, there is US, XRP and real coin. You can buy these assets for a certain amount of real token and XRP if we switch to real token here. Let's talk about the XRP ledger and the real coin that is based on it, and we'll have trillions of dollars pumped into it. We've been talking to you about real coin. The real ticket is worth just under 3 cents right now, and this thing is going to make millionaires. I really mean it when I say that. They might even be rich since there aren't many real tokens out there, right? When we talk about real token, there are 22 million phase 1 supplies, which again means nothing. This means that if less than 1% of real tokens are added to the XRP record, the price will go from 2 cents to over $50,000. It's crazy, but in the next few months or days, this thing could easily rise to around $70 or $80 right away because there isn't enough supply and there is a huge demand for the token itself. We can see the very low levels of pushback and the very high levels of support. The charts show what looks like a huge breakout pattern. This whole thing is very positive, and it's not just me. In other words, these got a huge score, a perfect score of 100 for Banana Swap. In general, it got a score of 100%. It's safe to keep the top 3 spots. It's only about $3,125 to see the top KYC that has been 100% KYC checked. It's really small. This is nothing at all. Guys, you need to really understand that this is a multi-million dollar, multi-billion dollar, or even multi-trillion dollar business. This should be at least $200 at the very least.